And lots of you will know this, but we have a very mature, established international evidence base about the CPD part of this, the CPD that makes a difference for not just teachers, but students. And when we've got hard evidence that feeds all the way through to student benefits, CPD, one way or another, will support the following. There will always be a contribution from specialists, and always there is a small element of externality to that. I'll come back to why there's always a small element of externality and what externality might mean. There's always even more peer support, in particular when teachers take risks together, when they both risk looking vulnerable because they're trying something new, despite all the pressures around them. They start to become very loyal to each other. The reciprocal vulnerability speeds up trust building, and it's a really important part of building ownership of professional learning. Structured into the professional learning, there is always clarity about very ambitious aspirations for pupils. There's a slight tweak here. I'm not saying pupil needs, I'm saying high aspirations for pupils. There is always some degree of observation and debriefing from specialists. I'm not saying feedback, I'm saying something, it's feedback plus, it's about the quality of the feedback. There's always work in there about identifying people's continuing professional development and learning starting points. Not just their starting points in relation to their practice, but some recognition of their starting point as a learner. If you like, a good way of thinking about this is an assessment for learning for staff. You know, all those things that we think about in terms of excellence for professional learning for staff. There are always processes to extend and structure dialogue, and these don't feed through into benefits for pupils in the studies unless there are two additional elements in place. Professional learning conversations on our own don't connect, and indeed there's evidence that they don't feed through into student learning unless they're rooted in evidence about pupil learning, and it needs to be evidence about disturbing the status quo. So if it's just professional learning conversations about the stuff we do anyway, it doesn't lead to changes that make a real difference. There's always stuff about creative and effective use of time, you'd expect that, so that practices embed over time, so elapsed time as well as the amount of time. And there's development of practice and an underpinning rationale together. Now, the thing that we've done to try and explore this is we've devised a set of research tools and instruments and very fine-grained benchmarks based on the international evidence about professional learning, and we called it SCANE, and we called it SCANE, it's not an acronym. SCANE is the collective noun for geese flying in a V formation, and we just think that's a really good metaphor for what a powerful and effective school learning environment looks like, where the lead goose takes a lot of the strain, and they know they can't do that for long, so another lead goose comes behind. And one of the things that people might be interested in is, why are we focusing on professional learning environments, not professional learning communities? Well, the answer is this. This is a little logical. The quality of teaching is self-evidently the key to change. We all know that. Therefore, and the evidence is strong about this, teacher learning and support for teacher learning is the thing that's going to drive change. So leadership of continuing professional development and learning is the key contribution that leaders make. And if you don't know it, the work of Viviane Robinson on meta-analysing what leaders contribute to professional learning that makes a difference for pupil learning. There's a summary on our website and a web link coming up in the slide. Meta-analyses that and demonstrates very clearly that leadership of continuing professional development learning and modelling of it is key. So, and she also makes the point that in schools, one of these leaders have to do is systematise the leadership of professional learning through tools and systems and resources. So what we're saying is that leadership plus tools plus pedagogy, and pedagogy for continuing professional development and learning, combine to create a professional learning community. But the professional learning community is the outcome, it's not the input. You can't really mandate a community any more than you can mandate values. What we think schools do to enable that to happen is they create a learning environment, just as that's one thing you have to pay attention to for student learners. And we think in terms of research, it's a lot easier and more manageable to observe and investigate the learning environment than the sense of community.